Good morning. Can you believe the entitlement of your priests that they would dare block the doors by parking their trucks in front of them undercover? Gosh, what self-entitled. You should tell all the other parishioners how awful your priests are. You would never do that. That's only the people that don't come to daily mass. We were sitting on the back porch last night watching the storm, and actually I was sitting on the front porch watching it. I had a better view of the storm, and then went to the back porch and realized Father Michael's view wasn't as good. It was all blue sky where he was looking, and he said, "I think it's supposed to hail, and if it does, we should probably move our trucks down under the cover in front of the church because we don't have a garage in which to park our cars." I'm not saying I want a garage. I'm fine without one. When you come home with the groceries and it's raining, it's a little awkward, but it's okay. Do it for you because I love you. It's okay, let's move the trucks down because it's supposed to hail, and looked out, kind of heard this weird noise. I was like, that's some strange sounding rain on the roof, and then looked out and saw golf balls falling from the sky. And so we ran, got everything right. I didn't have shoes on. I was like, well, what shoes do I put on? Because I'm going to have to run back up through the rain and the hail. And I didn't want to put socks on. And I had this do I put flip-flops on? No, that's going to be a mess. So I settled with tennis shoes with no socks on. I put my rain jacket on, and I opened the door, and I saw the hail golf balls coming down, and I was like, am I going to get knocked out if I go out there? I did not get knocked out. I went out there. Everything's good. Everything was safe. No damage to the truck. I was thoughtful enough to move my truck before confession started, unlike someone else. It's his day off, so give him a break. It was a little frightening with all the golf balls falling out of the sky. Didn't do any damage. Jesus picks up here from yesterday after he tells the Jews, he says, before Abraham was, I am, right? He claims to be God. And so rightfully so, they pick up rocks to stone him, because if he's not telling the truth, then he's blaspheming. He's committing a capital crime against God. And the law of Moses says that he should be stoned. And a lot hinges on that. Sometimes non-Catholics will say, what you believe about the Eucharist is insane, right? That's blasphemy. It's heresy. It's cannibalism. If you say that Jesus really, his body, blood, soul, and divinity are present in the Eucharist, that's utterly insane. And usually I say, that is utterly insane if it's not true. So for us to believe what we believe, it's either insane or it's true. And St. Paul says this. He says that the cross is a stumbling block for the Gentiles. It's a contradiction for the Jews, because what Jesus claims is very radical. Jesus claims that God has taken on our flesh, that he is among us. And so what he says is either blasphemy, insanity, or it's true. And for 2,000 years, countless people have said, yeah, we believe that's true. We believe the words that Jesus spoke to us. We believe who he is. We recognize him for who he is. And for 2,000 years, many people have looked upon Christians and said, well, that's insane. You must be crazy. How could you believe that? The Romans hear of this, and they say, this is nonsense. Much better to believe in gods that, live up in the clouds and have affairs with each other and throw lightning bolts at us when they get mad. That's much more sane and rational. Rather than a God who loves us, rather than a God who desires eternal communion with us, rather than a God who exists so that we may know him and love him and serve him and be united to him. And so, as we prepare to enter into Holy Week, something important to meditate upon. What is it that we believe? And why do we believe it? Well, we believe it because it's been handed on to us. But more importantly, we believe it because it's true. How do we know that it's true? Because Jesus walked among us. Because Jesus is still among us. Because Jesus is united to us and we are united to him. And he is united to the Father. So the rest of the world might look at us and say we're crazy. I look at the rest of the world, the ones especially that think that Christians are crazy, and I ask them what they believe, and they say they believe some weird things, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe you're the crazy one. I'm going to believe the things that we've believed for a lot longer than what you've been believing your weird things. Because Christianity is that which brings about peace, harmony. Christianity is that which brings about order in our world. Christianity is that which built our civilization. So as we prepare to enter into Holy Week, let us, with Christ, retreat across the river, across the Jordan. Let us be with him in silence, in prayer, in penance. Let us pray for those who reject him. Let us pray for those who say Christianity is nonsense, is craziness, is insanity. Let us pray that the words of Christ may penetrate the hardest of hearts, and that we may continue to do his will, we may continue to follow after him in all that we do.